Welcome in, Jake West and Brandon Stevens. This is I guess it's week zero of Inside the SMC presented by Team FYN Sports. Brandon and I will be your hosts each week. And Brandon, it's 7-on-7s are over, padded camps are over. We're finally getting down to the nitty gritty.
This is the fun part of it, Jake. Now that we're actually getting into the season, we're out of the shorts and the helmets, and we're actually into full uniforms, full contact. And hey, a couple hours from now, we get to see the lights turn on and football begins, and it's the best time of the year for me.
Yeah, same for me. Just quickly, let's mention and talk about some of the new stuff that happened this offseason, namely Swain County getting a new head coach, Sherman Holtz over there leading the Maroon Devils.
I like him. I think this is going to be a good piece for the Maroon Devils. It's for a long time we've had the era and legacy of Boyce Dietz, and then all of his coaches who've come in behind him, Coach White and Coach Blankenship. Several have went over to do really good things at Swain County. And, Jake, for a long time, it seemed like, man, just the coaches, the players just went hand in glove over there, and things just spelled success. And for people out in the far west, like Robbinsville and Murphy, that was just, it was the bane of their existence, Swain County. But Sherman Holt, from the area, has coached at Tuscola, was up at Appalachian State during the high life of the national championship. I'm really looking forward to seeing the system that he puts in. He's got some new coaches that are surrounding him. I think there's one from the past with Michael Watson that's going to be there. There's quarterbacking a state championship. So I'm really interested to see how the leadership will mold in a rebuilding Swain County.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be weird looking down there and not seeing Coach Blankenship. Obviously, he's still with the school and still the athletic director, but it will be. I mentioned in one of my preview articles, some of the Maroon Devil faithful might have a heart attack if they look down on the field and there's no veer being ran, or they see more of a spread type passing offense, which that's what Holt ran at Tuscola. Doesn't mean that's exactly what he's going to implement here, but he's got some good athletes if he does want to do that.
Well. Oh, just a real quick thing, and I think you bring up a really good point here, is that we have a lot of schools that, they're still generational from, way back when they're playing peewees, termites, mites, and midgets, because the system flows in one pathway, and you may not necessarily get away from veer offenses and things like that Swain County's really been used to, and then going to different systems. But I'm interested to see how, once again, how he comes in and works. But this looks like a pretty good coach for Swain County.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Swain and the Maroon Devils, let's get into the Smoky Mountain Conference preseason power rankings. As you can see, they're up on your screen right there. We've got Robbinsville at 1, Andrews 2, Murphy 3, Hayesville 4, Swain 5, and Cherokee 6. Brandon, you can agree or disagree on these, but the main reason I had Robbinsville at 1 is just, hand in hand with new coach at Swain, second-year coach at Murphy. Coach Walsh has been there a long time for Robbinsville, and when you return a coach like that, it means a lot. And it also helps when you return the 2021 Player of the Year in Cutler Adams. I just think Robbinsville, heading into the season, at least, is going to be the top giant to knock off.
Yeah, there are going to be some, some questionable pieces there. I think everybody, for the most part, in all 6 of these teams, this is like almost a rebuilding year across the conference in most cases. But let's take those top 3. I could almost say like there could be like really a competitive tie, and it's really difficult to say, okay, Robbinsville, Andrews, Murphy, or let's flip that around and for the Murphy faithful who want to be a number one or number two. I think there are so many different little moving parts at this point, but you probably lay it out the best way here.
B&M Metals has been serving the Southeast for almost 50 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, B&M Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. They pride themselves on providing great service and quality at a competitive price. Give B&M Metals a call at 706-864-6068 or visit them at 6195 Highway 52 East in Murrayville or at bmmetalroofing.com. B&M Metals, protecting everything that matters to you most.
Taking a road trip is about having fun. Installing only the finest CarQuest parts from Murphy Auto Parts keeps you in the fun zone. Come by and visit our new location at 420 Peachtree Street in Murphy, where we're more than just a parts store. Trust your road trip to CarQuest Auto Parts from Murphy Auto Parts.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
You've heard the news. Your trade is worth more than ever. That means the time to trade and upgrade is right now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. More for your vehicle means a lower monthly payment on a new Chevy. So don't let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity pass you by. Trade values are off the charts. Trade and upgrade today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Are you looking for expertly decorated gifts you'll love with your custom design or logo? Graphic Expressions in Blue Ridge is your go-to place for custom apparel, accessories, gifts, and much more. Graphic Expressions is located at 3640 East 1st Street in Blue Ridge, or give them a call at 706-946-4605. Graphic Expressions, unrivaled customer service, pure brand awesomeness.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
North Georgia Metals has been serving the Southeast for over 40 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, North Georgia Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. Give the team at North Georgia Metals a call at 706-276-1633 or visit them at 15544 Highway 515 South in LJ or on the web at northgeorgiametals.com.
Welcome back, Jake West, Brandon Stevens. This is week one of Inside the SMC presented by Team FYN Sports. We're going to take a game-by-game look here of what's going to happen during week one. And let's kick it off with Swain at North Buncombe. We talked a little bit about Coach Sherman Holt. Brandon, what do you expect from this one?
This, for me, I'm typically just looking at it from how things have not been going well for North Buncombe. I've watched North Buncombe for years, and I remember they had really strong players way back in the 90s. Jeremy Laster, you had him going to the Air Force Academy, and it seemed like every year when I was a regular reporter that covered Smoky Mountain High School and would travel up to Weaverville, that was a dreaded trip. But number one, 3 different coaches in 3 years, and it was an 0-8 season for North Buncombe. A couple games that were canceled there, but I think this year when you look down and you have Joshua Collins and Gabe Lillard and those folks. This could get fairly ugly, and I think this is definitely going to play right into Swain County's hands. Just making sure that right up front you're coming to play the whole ball mouth and move them back, because definitely North Buncombe is rebuilding, and I don't necessarily see the the good vibe coming from Buncombe. I think this one, Swain County can etch this one up as a win for this first week. Now, how that could be, it could be getting out of hand. It could be a good practice game, just to be honest with you, for Swain County, and being able to exercise different facets and different players. So this one, I don't necessarily look as being pretty for North Buncombe. This will be a good Swain County game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Massey Ratings says Swain's going to win this one 32-21, and I think that's a pretty good spread. I would say Swain wins it by at least 2 touchdowns. But according to Max Prep, Swain is ranked 7th in the state heading into the 2022 season. So maybe they know something we don't know, that Swain could come out and be world beaters, and we could look like idiots for having them 5th in our preseason conference poll. But like you said, this is going to be a very good week one matchup for them to just kind of get things rolling in a brand new offense.
And I think too, around the corner, not too very far off, you need a little bit of confidence, because if you're Swain County, then one of the next games that you're probably going to play is Smoky Mountain High School. And that's been, besides Swain Murphy, it's been like a Silva or Jackson County, Swain County rivalry. So somewhere around the corner, you're going to need to really bone up on a few things. And I think Smoky Mountain has got a really good running back this year in Isaiah McNeely, who had so really, I guess my point is to just get right down to it, is that you need to have some confidence going in and keep the momentum going. And I think Swain County could build on that. So it's be a good game for them. And I'm pretty confident that they'll take this one.
Well, that's a good segue as we preview Cherokee versus Smoky Mountain. We've got some Isaiah McNeely highlights we're going to play here in the background as we talk over them. I know Smoky Mountain used to be, that's your alma mater, and that used to be your beat. What do you know about this kid? A 2,000-yard rusher last year, and I mean, pretty much these are the highlights against Cherokee last year. It looks like he pretty much beat Cherokee by himself last year.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, when you look at him go through, I mean, once again, he was making things happen. He found the edge and got in. Plus, doesn't hurt that not the best pass coverage that you see, but man, just grease lightning. Watch the pass that's probably going to come up here. Wide open, got good coverage out in front of him, and it doesn't hurt too that your offensive guys are out in front of you, no block in the back. That's going to be powerful. So it's going to be powerful to stop. And Cherokee this year, of course, you had Donald Bradley last year, and now it's Zoe Smith And really, that is a short keyword that stretches out there. And what that is really short for is ball player in Cherokee. So I think the folks here are looking to see, him connect up with Calhoun and Driver, but really up front, as you saw in those last couple plays, your line, the trenches, is where this is going to have to stop Isaiah McNeely and make them probably go for a few more passes. Try to use your speed to simulate it, but this is going to be a tough one for Cherokee to come through. And if you're not careful, I mean, those. It was just a few plays, and all of a sudden they're in the end zone. So that'll happen to you quite a bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if Cherokee doesn't have a good defensive front. Then that could be 2, 3, 4 touchdowns ahead for the Mustangs.
Yeah, Cherokee. I mean, on paper they returned 7 offensive starters and 7 defensive starters, but the 4 that graduated were all of your production offensive and defensively pretty much was coming from those 4 guys, aside from Luke Climbing Bear on defense. I think he was the top tackler, so obviously he's going to be an anchor for that defense, but man, it's going to be I think, in my opinion, it's going to be a rebuilding year for Cherokee, but who knows I think I'm going to pick Smoky Mountain in this one. Massey Ratings says that Smoky Mountain's going to win 31-21. I say it's more of a 2 touchdown spread, just like in the Swain North Buncombe game. But week 1, that's why we play the games. It's going to be fun to see everybody get out there.
I would tend to go along with those ratings. Like I said before, if early on Smoky Mountain establishes its dominance there, and then all of a sudden it could be easy to just really bring down the spirit Cherokee, and then all of a sudden next thing you know you're up 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and by the end of the game, if Cherokee's not right, doesn't have that good defensive front, I say 4 touchdowns.
That's a big gap there. Let's move on and talk about the next one. Brandon, I think you got a chance to talk to head coach of the Andrews Wildcats, James Phillips. Let's sit back and listen to what he has to say as he previews their game against the Hickory Hawks.
Hi, Coach Phillips. Thanks for being with us for a second. How's your season looking? I mean, from the 7-on-7s and everything else, it looks like you guys are shaping up pretty strong this year.
Well, I mean, we've had a pretty good summer, and a good, strong core group of kids. We've averaged 25, 28 kids in a night at our workouts, which hasn't typically happened here. So our core is really strong. We've got a good nucleus of seniors who are providing some good leadership for us right now. So, and I imagine they'll keep on leading the whole season. They've got some high goals and some high expectations of themselves. So we're all trying to dig a little deeper and claw a little harder. So,
how was your scrimmage with Franklin? Sounds like you guys led the night.
Well, I mean, yeah. Coach Brooks. I mean, first and foremost, I got a lot of respect for what he's done over there at Franklin, and I think he's been there. Maybe this is his 16th year, and typically he's got a very disciplined, well-oiled football machine, and they're usually very physical and big up front. So I like that challenge for our kids. We've scrimmaged them this several years in a row now. It's a good kind of measuring stick to see where we're at, and they're pretty senior heavy. I think they've got 18 seniors, so we knew it was going to be tough. And our kids played pretty well. I mean, we made some typical scrimmage mistakes and some rust, but I thought our kids competed hard, and we executed pretty well for a scrimmage, and it was a good test for us going into the regular season.
How are the Hickory Hawks going to be Friday night for you guys? That's home, one of the academy homeschool type.
Yeah, Yeah, this is the second year we played them. Coach Bennett does a good job. It's kind of like a Christian ministry type thing for him with these kids, and I got respect for what he does for those kids. And it's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest, because you don't know what you're going to get with a group like that. Sometimes it's a grab bag. They could pick up a kid this week that we didn't see on film, and they've got 3 really good athletes on their team. So it's and it's on the road. It's 3 hours from here, and so it'll be one of those road tests early, like I wanted to see against some really good athletes, and but we just got to do what we do and be physical and execute well, and we'll see where the chips fall.
Well, good luck on Friday, and go Wildcats.
Thank you, appreciate it. Go Cats.
– So
enjoyed talking about it with him. He's a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Just he mentioned it's kind of nerve-wracking going against a team like that, and I can see that. But you think he's just up talking this game, or do you think the seriousness is really there for him and his team?
Well, I like the fact that the way that Coach Phillips talks. I mean, number one, he's humble, he's gracious, and I think he's a little modest, because you got a really good team that's working here. And also, I think that he respects like really these grassroots teams like the Hickory Hawks. I think this is probably one of those that, like Murphy played the Q Foundation for a number of years, and it's when you know that you're pretty good, you've got a really good team, and you can contribute a little bit to help out because homeschoolers. This is going to probably inside this, we know that Andrews probably will walk away with the win on this one. It's long road trip, a little bit to exercise the team and get them the Wildcats ready for some things. But here you get an opportunity to exercise your quarterback, Donovan Bateman. Really turning him into a superstar. Some things aired out with Isaac Weaver. I mean, and once again, too, your other faculties of the team, you get to work with them, the line and everything else. But yeah, Coach Phillips, I think with that, the way he talks, one about Franklin, Brooks brothers, the other teams, I just like his character.
Yeah, and I mean, he mentioned some things that I never thought about. Homeschool teams don't necessarily play by our NCHSAA rules. So, I mean, he just mentioned them adding somebody that this week that they haven't seen on film yet. So I guess it is kind of hard to prepare for a team like that, because the guy they just added could have been, the homeschool version of Cutler Adams out there. So I guess you just never know. But I'm still picking the Cats in this one. I think this one's 3 or 4 scores from them, as long as they can get their legs stretched. And we've talked about Weaver and Bateman. I think the go-to guy for the Cats this year, he was their leading rusher last year, but I think he's really going to break out this year. It's going to be Austin Martin. He runs with a really hard aggression. He'll run straight through you if you give him the opportunity. And he's so fun to watch on both sides of the football. He's going to be, I think he could challenge the best of the best, and he may even be voted player of the year by the time it's all said and done.
Well, and I want to mention a few other things too. I mean, we do tend to jump in and mention just Isaac Weaver and Donovan Bateman, and that's been the focus. But still, you've got a really well experienced line that's coming back. If all people that lined up last year from Zach Queen to Tyler West and Alex Jones at center and Drew Martin and Dalton Rose, those are all like juniors and sophomores, and they played some Ironman football back and forth across the line. I keep saying this down the way, these especially these downhill running teams, and I think that Andrews ran into that last week with Franklin. That's what Murphy's going to run into this coming week. You've got to have a really good line. That's probably what they tend to run a a 4-man set, a 43 defense, plugging the holes and keeping those guys that run downhill right between the 1 gap and the 9 gap. You've got to have some people there. And Austin Martin, Drew Martin, who lined up last year, I think you've got some really well-seasoned veterans that are coming back and can make impact with this team. So yeah, it's not always the Donovan Bateman and Isaac Weaver show. It takes 9 others to keep the points off the board from your opponents and put the points on for the Wildcats.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to say one more thing about Andrews. Their wide receivers this year also, I think, should get talked about some with Cole Anderson and Cam Rattler. I think that's going to be, all last year when Bateman was throwing it, it was to Isaac Weaver. You knew that every time. But I think those two guys learning under the tutelage of Matt Manley and what a great receiver he was in his time at Swain, I think they're going to break out this year. And if the Wildcats do decide to put it in the air, we could really see some fireworks. But once again, just back to this game, yeah, I think Andrews handles it pretty easily. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk about Robbinsville, Asheville, Towns County, Hayesville, and Murphy Franklin.
B&M Metals has been serving the Southeast for almost 50 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, B&M Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. They pride themselves on providing great service and quality at a competitive price. Give B&M Metals a call at 706-864-6068 or visit them at 6195 Highway 52 East in Murrayville or at bmmetalroofing.com. B&M Metals, protecting everything that matters to you most.
Taking a road trip is about having fun. Installing only the finest CarQuest parts from Murphy Auto Parts keeps you in the fun zone. Come by and visit our new location at 420 Peachtree Street in Murphy, where we're more than just a parts store. Trust your road trip to CarQuest Auto Parts from Murphy Auto Parts.
At Circuit World, we offer a wide selection of major appliances, name brands like Whirlpool, LG, Frigidaire, and more. Looking for furniture? Come by and browse our showroom or check out the Endless Aisle, a touchscreen kiosk with thousands of options. Need electronics, gaming computers, laptops, desktops, tablets? We have it all. OLED or QLED, 4K or high def. We have the selection to get you the TV of your dreams. And don't forget, at Circuit World, your credit is always good. So ask about our convenient payment options and 120 days, same as cash. Come see us today at one of our 5 area locations.
You've heard the news. Your trade is worth more than ever. That means the time to trade and upgrade is right now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. More for your vehicle means a lower monthly payment on a new Chevy. So don't let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity pass you by. Trade values are off the charts. Trade and upgrade today at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. Days Chevrolet. Days gets it done. Find new roads.
Are you looking for expertly decorated gifts you'll love with your custom design or logo? Graphic Expressions in Blue Ridge is your go-to place for custom apparel, accessories, gifts, and much more. Graphic Expressions is located at 3640 East 1st Street in Blue Ridge, or give them a call at 706-946-4605. Graphic Expressions, unrivaled customer service, pure brand awesomeness.
In 1981, Reed Nicholson began selling tires out of an old barn in Mineral Bluff. Little did he know that he had just laid the groundwork for the most trusted names in automotive services in the Blue Ridge area. In 1997, Nicholson Tire Center became what it is today, holding the same values of faith, family, and great customer service. 2 locations to serve you, and the Blue Ridge location is currently expanding to offer fast service and the largest U-Haul provider in Georgia. Nicholson Tire Center, Blue Ridge, and Mineral Bluff.
North Georgia Metals has been serving the Southeast for over 40 years. From metal roofs and panels to gutters and metal accessories, North Georgia Metals is your one-stop shop for all things metal. Give the team at North Georgia Metals a call at 706-276-1633 or visit them at 15544 Highway 515 South in Ellijay or on the web at northgeorgiametals.com.
Welcome back, Jake West, Brandon Stevens. This is Inside the SMC, presented by Team FYN Sports. We're going to be talking some more Smoky Mountain Conference games here in just a second. But even though we're called Inside the Smoky Mountain Conference, we're going to cover, especially deeper into the year, pretty much all of the Western region teams. But getting into one of those teams, let's talk about Robbinsville as they travel to Asheville High. Robbinsville, like you mentioned earlier, gave it to them last year. You expect more of the same this year, or what are your thoughts heading in here week one?
I have a feeling that this year could Robbinsville go and do that same feat and defeat Asheville High's Cougars? Absolutely. They're only missing just a few players from back last year. I mean, you've got some key skill players, and I hate to say skill players like that because linemen and linebackers, and it does take some work to know how to shift and keep your blocks and know where the plays are going and that sort of thing. They're very skilled as well. So, let's just get right to the point here. I think that it's going to be a lot tougher. I mean, once again, as I mentioned, when you go to Buncombe County and you make that little entrance coming around from AB Tech, and then all of a sudden you drop down that big bowl that it's this big Gothic-looking place, and it's rather intimidating just actually going into the stadium. But from there, so many good players and plays, and let me tell you, the fans are the 12th player when it comes into this. But I think that probably the one person probably I would watch is what's his name, Meek Slidell. He's a freshman quarterback that's expected to be really big here. But again, Cutler Adams out to prove himself, and they're in which Robbinsville, which Asheville team shows up, because I think that probably I think there are other people predicting that maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns Asheville will take Robbinsville. I could almost give it a 3-point to 7-point advantage for the Black Knights coming into this one, because they want to defend that. It's kind of like we were talking about the other day, the Appalachian State Michigan win. That's but you played that one was played over in under the Big Oaks, so now you're getting ready to play over in Asheville, where these guys don't typically lose. So I think it's going to boil down to attitude and how you roll into, and discipline coming into taking care of the ball. And D. Walsh and Lucas Ford, they do a pretty good job of that. I'm going to give a little slight advantage here to the Robbinsville Black Knights.
Yeah, I am too. I'm right with you. I mean, Robbinsville is going to be. I mean, Asheville is without their starting quarterback from last year. Moved to Christ School, I believe. Khalil Conley, maybe.
I can't remember, but I'm not as up on the Asheville Cougars, obviously, because we're back out. But I do remember with who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's at Christ School now. But I'll tell you, the main reason I'm giving Robbinsville the edge is that stat on the bottom of the graphic right there. Rush yards per game last year, 284. That's kind of crazy to look at. Just looking at their stats from last year. I mean, they were 10-4. They scored 33.2 points per game and only allowed 22.3. Obviously, heading into this year, they're going to be without a key piece of that defense, and that's going to be Cage Williams as he recovers from off-season shoulder surgery. But I still think the Black Knights can go over there, go to Asheville, and get it done. I definitely don't think we're going to see what Massey Rating says this one. Massey Rating says 35-19 Asheville takes this one. I just don't see the Black Knights letting it get that out of hand. But I do think it's going to be a close one. Like you said, one score either way. But I think my pick here in this one's Robbinsville.
Still a little bit. I think not necessarily do I want to use the term rebuilding, but just fortifying back to where they were. Asheville had a respectable season, 9-3 last year, and but was that just a fluke, an embarrassment, a slip between the cup and the lip that happened up in Robbinsville? I don't think so necessarily, but I once again, I don't necessarily agree with your prognosticators there. I'm going to say if either side probably wins this game, I'll break it down this way. You're probably not going to win by much more than 7 points, maybe 9 points or something like that. But or 10 or something like that. But it's not going to be a 28-point difference. This one's going to be pretty close, and folks are going to be out for blood. But once again, not just being a homer in the Smoky Mountain Conference, but I really think that a lot of energy will be put into this game, and it'll be a big expenditure for the Robbinsville Black Knights. But I think they'll do it, and it might be by just a hair of the head there that they get past Asheville. But hey, that's a win, and it's a good win too.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. We won't spend too much time on this game, but a rivalry in week 1. Hayesville hosts Towns County. Hayesville's 21-4 all time versus the Indians, but since 2016, they're 1-3 versus Towns County. So they've stumbled a little bit against the Indians in the last couple of years. Last matchup was in 2019. Hayesville won 35-0. What do you expect to see out of this one? I know Towns County is really rebuilding. They graduated a ton of seniors last year. Massey Rating says it's going to be 31-28 Towns County. What are you thinking here, Brandon?
I don't know. I'm not I'm not quite looking at a gap that wide. Okay, let's just look at, if we just break it down to simple numbers, a 4-6 Towns County versus a 3-8 Hayesville team. But once again, coming back in, Hayesville still has Logan Caldwell, and is he going to be the playmaker? Is he going to really get some guys moving and rolling? I think that's really possible. I would even say this one would shrink down. Now, if either team wins, this is definitely going to be like a 3-point game or something closer in. That's what I'm kind of expecting, because I think these two guys, these two teams are probably closely aligned from what I can see. Now, obviously, I don't have as much firsthand knowledge going over to Towns County. I might have to give this one to Towns County just by like 3-7 on this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Massey Rating says. They say 31-28 Towns County over Hayesville. I did get to see Towns County this offseason in some 7-on-7s against Gilmer and Oconee County. And, man, they lost a lot. I don't know offensively if they can keep up with Logan Caldwell and Taylor McClure and Kyle Lunsford And I mean, the Jackets are even adding another receiver in Avery Leatherwood, who missed all of last year due to an injury. So this is going to be one where we're on the flip side of. I'm going to go with the Jackets to take this one, and I think they take it by 2 touchdowns.
And
let's
go right ahead.
Let's move over to our game of the week. A game we're going to have live on fyntv.com. That's Murphy versus Franklin. Coach Brooks and his Panthers come to town. It's going to be played at David Gentry Field at Bob Hendricks Stadium. And we're going to have it live on fyntv.com. So if you can't make it out, you can tune in and listen to Brandon and I. Or even if you do make it out and you want to go back and watch it, it will be archived on fyntv.com. Brandon, let's before we start talking about it, let's hear what the head coach of the Murphy Bulldogs, Joseph Watson, has to say about this upcoming game.
Coach Watson, talk to us about the game the scrimmage game that we had against Watauga. A little uncharted territory, 4A, 3A schools with Ashe County and Watauga. But what'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely. So the scrimmage is more of a total trip scrimmage for us. So we anticipating some long trips this year, and I originally was hesitant about taking that scrimmage game, but I thought it would be a good idea for us to be able to learn how to get on a bus and take a trip and be able to get off a bus and play the game and get our legs back underneath us and play hard right at the beginning. But I thought we started off really slow. I felt like we had some little, some jet lag, as they say, with the ride up there. And eventually, as the scrimmage went on, we did a lot better. But the reason you scrimmage is to get better and get film and see things that you need to work on. And we got plenty to work on.
What did you think was a salient, something that we needed to work on coming out of that scrimmage?
Well, so just for example, defensively, we got to do a lot better job of, aligning correctly and act like we say, read our keys and make sure that we're in the right position defensively. And, there's things to work on offensively too. We want to play with better tempo than what we did Friday night and better execution.
Turn it around. So what did you find that was really cool and really good that scrimmage?
Yeah, at times we really looked good. We did some things that were good. Cole Laney looked good at the in the passes that he got to throw, and then I liked how Will Johnson went and got the ball. And our running backs, we think we got a pretty good group of running backs, and they did an outstanding job blocking and carrying the football. So we're happy with that. And the line of scrimmage on both lines of scrimmage were really good at times. So there were some bright spots there as well.
Coach, every year when we play the Franklin Panthers, that's going to be a physical football game. It's going to be smash mouth. What are you thinking about Friday night when the Panthers roll in to play here at Murphy?
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. Anytime you play them, you're going to get a physical football team, and they really focus on up front, offensive and defensive line, and they do an outstanding job at teaching their linemen, how to play physical and teach their scheme. And they do an outstanding job. So you're in for a fight every time you play Franklin, and hopefully we're up for it.
Downhill, folks, as far as the offense looks like, so linebackers and the lines better be ready.
Yeah, absolutely. They are downhill and run a lot of power schemes and a lot of counters at you, and they will find things that you're not sound at, and they'll take advantage of that. So they do an outstanding job, the Franklin coaching staff on both sides of the ball, and take advantage of anything that is not sound.
Well, just the last question. So you're ready for fall 2022 football?
Oh, we're ready to go, Brandon. We've been waiting on this, and I know our team is ready to come off the hill and play in front of a full crowd. And, there's nothing better than starting another season of high school football.
All right, Coach, go Bulldogs.
Go Dogs.
Great stuff there from Coach Watson. I really like that this game is played pretty much every year.
Yeah, it's like a tradition. It's a little bittersweet because and probably when you look back and you look over the distribution of the games, Franklin's probably leading the series here. But
yeah,
I'll tell you what,
15-6.
as I mentioned in my article notes this week is that whether you win or lose against the Franklin Panthers, you come away knowing clear as a bell what you need to do. If you win, you know you're a good team. If you lose and hear the reasons, just like last year when we had trouble with Chris McGuire and a couple other guys, I mean, you knew coming out like, all right, you got to fix this. And you had Keegan Pollock and Grant Adams, and you were trying to contain everything between the sticks and where the passes were going. This is last year was a well-built team, and we had a few mental mistakes, but this year, I think looking into it, Franklin has a lot of new faces, and it's rebuilt. Not as many seasoned players, but still, man, I tell you what, Franklin with the Brooks brothers, Jay and Josh, known them almost all my life. They came from Sula. They are the most competitive people that you ever run into, and they will not put a bad football team on the field. And
I agree. I agree. I mean, I really liked what you said about win or lose. It seems like every year when the Bulldogs lead off with this game against Franklin, they really learn a whole lot from that game. I mean, it's a bigger school. The Panthers always have great athletes. You mentioned a couple. And, I mean, it's just a good way to start off your year every year, even though it hasn't really went in your favor in the past. I mean, Franklin's winning the series 15-6, like we mentioned earlier. And it definitely didn't go in your favor last year. But Massey Ratings has this game projected as the closest game in the conference this week. It's Murphy 28, Franklin 27. So we've got a 1-point spread here. Murphy picked to win over Franklin. And I think that's pretty spot on. It's going to be a very close game. Obviously, we were in Watauga last week, so we didn't get to see Franklin scrimmage Andrews. But from what I heard about that game, Franklin doesn't have the firepower they had last year. But contrary to that, Murphy is still kind of finding their footing too. So it's going to be a good opening game for both these teams.
Well, we know that both of these teams have good run games. I mean, when you Braden Watts was last year's. He was a junior last year, senior this year, and you got Daniel Ensley is the probable into the backfield. This Franklin team, they'll either run what's called an old ace set, or they'll run out of a pro eye. Try to run it between what I like to call the sticks. You know, the one gap in the nine hole out there, and as we were saying, downhill running, which typically they don't juke and jive and zig and zag. They have some good speed, good size, and speed and size kills. But what I like to see now, if you flip it over to the Murphy defense. Last weekend, some good lean-sized boys coming out of the Pioneers and Ashe County, and the front line, Kyle and Thrasher and several others. If they didn't catch them right there, Ty Laney, John Ledford had their numbers. So I think with the running, the downhill running, both sides have capability to be a real big safety net. When you turn it around to Franklin's defense, they have more like a shade 50. This is where your linebackers are going to kind of come in and crowd off the center, guard the holes, and probably your safety is going to come up, and it fortifies a good run because they know Ty Laney's going to run at you. Good hard running is John Ledford. Maybe a little crisscross pattern. You'll get some sort of fancy trap that comes out of Hunter Stalkup. But both teams are going to really have each other's throats on defense, and they're going to try to run it up the holes here. Somebody's going to have to open up a pass, Jake, and get this one. We didn't see that really from either team last week. Saw some good stuff getting out to Will Johnson, but talking with Coach Phillips, this one didn't really exactly air out from Davis Anderson Franklin. So if somebody can do that, and we might see a few touchdowns go on the board. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think just getting into my pick, I'm gonna go with Murphy, mainly because of this guy right here. Here's the stats from 2021, and he's gonna only surpass those stats offensively this year, I think, with the good line play that Murphy is returning. And I mean, you mentioned the three-headed monster Murphy's going to have in the backfield, and Ty Laney, John Ledford, and Hunter Stalkup. And I think those guys can even help you out in the pass game. We saw Hunter Stalkup come up big in the pass game a little bit last year, and I mean, Will Johnson was catching some bombs for a tight end last week against Watauga. So if anybody I think has the edge in the passing game, it's going to be Murphy, because I'm a Cole Laney believer, and I think that him and Will Johnson are going to hook up more than a few times through the air this week.
And I think another thing. Now let's just start. We've kind of drawn out the X's and O's of this game, and probably how it now it's going to come down to attitude. Who's going to get their mean on? Who's going to be mentally tough? And then also, well, it's being played in Murphy, off the hill, down on David Gentry Field, Bob Hendricks Stadium, and that would be my only little piece there that pushes the Murphy Bulldogs a bit, and also too. Murphy Bulldogs that played last year, remembering that game that didn't really go that well over in the Panther Pit. They're wanting to correct that, and I think too the big piece here with Murphy now. You don't have huge stars on this team. There's not like I mentioned about a week or so ago. There's not a Yusuf Muggerbill or Rylan Smith that's on the line, or Juwan Allen and Peyton McCracken and some of those folks. But you still have, like you said, Ty Laney that is he's just a workhorse. I like watching him in practice and run the ball, and he doesn't quit, and he makes his mark. And there's not a whole lot of stopping him. When you have big boys, that are in there, Mason Thrasher and Kyle Willard and a few others that are opening the holes for you, I will have to probably give a little bit of a push, and also probably I'm a little biased too, but to Murphy on this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think home field advantage, especially in a matchup as close as this one, just means everything. But you can see them lining up on Friday night live on fyntv.com. Brandon, there's a great slate of games for week one. It's finally football season. Want to thank everybody for watching. We'll be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. on Thursday nights. And I think even next week we'll have another game of the week. But this week, please tune in, fyntv.com. We'll have Murphy as they host Franklin. And even if you can't make it live, you can go back and watch that one archived on fyntv.com. But Brandon, thank you for joining me. And that's going to do it for us.
I want to give a coupon out to everybody, sort of like what David Letterman did. Like if you tune into fyntv.com and watch the Murphy Franklin game, your kids can watch for free.
There you go. All right, Brandon, thank you. We'll be back next week.
Right.